On a stormy evening, 5 friends gathered in Mia's cozy living room, ready for a night of fun. The soft glow of candles flickered against the walls, creating dancing shadows that seemed to sway in rhythm with their laughter. Mia, the host, loved bringing everyone together and had set out delicious snacks on the table. Popcorn, chips, and colorful candy that glimmered like jewels. Jake, the jokester of the group, entered first, tossing his jacket over a chair with a playful grin. "Who's ready to lose?" he teased, winking at Emily, who always took games too seriously. Emily, armed with her lucky charm, a small rabbit foot, smirked back, ready to show everyone she could win this time. Liam and Aisha arrived next, their faces lit with excitement. "Did you bring the mysterious card game?" Aisha asked as she plopped onto the couch beside Mia. The group had talked about it all week. The intriguing game they found in a dusty thrift shop that promised thrills and surprises. With everyone settled in, Mia turned on the music softly in the background while a gust of wind rattled the windows. It was just the sort of night for an adventure. They discussed rules in hushed tones filled with anticipation. Little did they know that this night would soon be about more than just games. Shadows were lurking just beyond the candlelight, waiting for their chance to come alive. As they settled into the cozy atmosphere, the wind howled like a creature outside, rattling the window panes and adding to the suspense of the night. The dim lights cast a warm glow, but the flickering candles danced nervously atop the table, casting long shadows that twisted and turned across the walls. Each flicker seemed to move with a life of its own. The comforting sound of rain pattered against the roof, though deep down, it felt almost like a warning, a reminder that something unknown was approaching. Mia glanced around at her friends, their faces illuminated by the soft candlelight. Jake's playful smirk faded into a look of awe as he noticed how the shadows seemed to stretch and writhe with every gust of wind. Emily clutched her rabbit foot tighter, feeling an odd chill travel up her spine, even though she had always prided herself on being brave. Liam and Aisha traded nervous glances but smiled at each other, unsure whether the storm or their minds was responsible for the strange tension creeping in. The exciting build-up of tension made their hearts race as they opened the box containing the mysterious card game. Each moment felt charged with possibility. Despite the darkened room and howling storm outside, they could feel an exhilarating energy in the air. Little did they know that tonight's game would bring them face to face with much more than just cards. Mysterious shadows were already inching closer, eager to join their gathering. As the storm raged outside, the friends gathered closer around the table, eager to begin their adventure. Mia reached for the old box they had discussed earlier, feeling a rush of excitement mixed with curiosity. The box was weathered and dusty, adorned with strange symbols that shimmered under the flickering candlelight. She carefully opened it, revealing an assortment of colorful cards and a small, aged rulebook. "Wow, look at these cards!" Liam exclaimed, picking one up. It was decorated with illustrations that seemed to shift as he moved it in the light. "This is so cool. But what do these rules say?" Emily leaned in to read over his shoulder, her eyes widening. "These rules are bizarre. It says here that the game can reveal your deepest fears and secrets." Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke. Jake chuckled nervously. "Sounds like a perfect game for a stormy night. Let's see who's brave enough to play." He grabbed a few cards and shuffled them dramatically before handing them out to everyone. Aisha raised an eyebrow, glancing at her friends. "Are we sure we want to play this? Sounds intense." "Come on, it'll be fun," Mia urged, her enthusiasm infectious. They all exchanged determined looks. The thrill of playing something mysterious outweighed their hesitations. With hearts racing, they prepared to dive into the unknown world of shadows and secrets hidden within the cards. Little did they know how truly alive their fears would become before the night was over. As they gathered around the table, the excitement bubbled between them like fizzy soda. Mia shuffled the cards and dealt one to each of her friends, who eagerly leaned in to see what lay in front of them. "All right, let's see who goes first," she announced, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Jake was the first to draw a card, which displayed a cartoonish monster with exaggerated features. "Oh look, "I've got the silly scare card," he laughed, mimicking the monster's goofy expression. The room filled with chuckles as he launched into an impressive impression of it, making everyone howl with laughter. Emily's turn came next, and she drew a card that revealed a riddle. "You have to answer this riddle or face your worst fear. Ready?" She grinned. The friends leaned forward, eager to help her guess. They tossed ideas back and forth, their laughter echoing through the dimly lit room. One by one, each friend took turns revealing their cards and sharing funny stories or silly challenges related to them. Aisha blushed when she pulled a card that made her reenact an embarrassing childhood moment. Despite the storm outside, they created their own warmth inside through laughter and light-hearted teasing. For a while, everything felt normal and cheerful as they played on. Little did they know that the shadows surrounding them were beginning to take a darker shape, eager for their moment to reveal what the game truly held in store. As the game continued, the atmosphere shifted subtly, and an unsettling energy filled the air. It started with soft whispers that seemed to echo around the room whenever someone drew a card. At first, the friends chuckled, thinking it was just their imagination playing tricks in the dim light. But as Emily drew a card with a haunting image of a shadowy figure, the whispers grew louder, sounding almost like distant voices calling out for help. "Did you hear that?" Aisha asked, her eyes wide as she glanced towards the flickering shadows. The others nodded, their laughter fading into uneasy silence. Jake bravely picked up a card next, reading aloud its instructions. "If you draw this card, you must share your greatest fear." As he spoke, a gust of wind blew through the room, causing the candles to flicker violently and sending chills down their spines. The shadows on the walls seemed to dance more wildly, twisting into shapes that resembled figures lurking just out of sight. Mia's heart raced as she felt something cool brush against her arm. "Did anyone else feel that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The friends exchanged nervous glances. The once light-hearted game had taken a turn toward something far more mysterious. Each time they drew a card now, strange events unfolded, objects shifted slightly out of place, and fleeting reflections caught in corners of their eyes hinted at something watching them. As they continued playing, it was clear that the game was awakening something far beyond their expectations. As the tension mounted and shadows flickered ominously, it was Liam's turn to draw a card. He reached for one from the center of the table, eyes narrowing in curiosity and unease. The moment he flipped the card over, a chill swept through the room. It depicted a dark, swirling mass, with tendrils extending outward like a spider's web. The card was titled Card of Shadows. "What does it say?" Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper as she leaned in to see. Liam read aloud, his voice trembling slightly. "When this card is drawn, your deepest fears will take form before you." As he spoke, the temperature in the room seemed to drop, and the air became thick with an unexplainable heaviness. Suddenly, the shadows on the walls began to writhe and twist, coalescing into shadowy figures that seemed to pulse with life. Aisha's face went pale as she saw a dark shape that mirrored her own insecurities, a figure cloaked in darkness that whispered faintly of her past mistakes. "Liam, what did you do?" Emily gasped, her eyes darting around the room, trying to make sense of what was happening. Jake jumped back in terror as the figure resembling his childhood fear of failure emerged from the shadows. Each friend faced their own haunting manifestation as the whispers intensified, echoing their deepest regrets and insecurities. The atmosphere shifted from playful fear to true dread as they realized they were no longer just playing a game. They were facing their very own shadows brought to life. Panic set in as they understood that they had unwittingly opened a door to something far beyond mere fun. As the frail candlelight flickered, illuminating the room in ghostly patterns, each friend faced their shadow, the manifestations of their deepest fears and regrets. Liam stumbled backward, confronted by a dark figure that taunted him with memories of his past failures. The looming shadow whispered harsh criticisms, echoing the doubts he often kept buried. He felt paralyzed, struggling to muster the courage to confront what he had long avoided. Across the room, Aisha stood frozen as a shadowy version of herself emerged, cloaked in the darkness of her self-doubt. The figure pointed accusingly at her, reminding her of moments when she failed to stand up for herself. Tears welled in her eyes as she clenched her fists, wrestling against the flood of emotions rising within her. Emily, shaking, faced a shadow that whispered insecurities about her friendships and her worth. "Why do they really like you?" it hissed, sending chills down her spine. Finding strength, she took a step closer to the figure and declared, "I am more than my worries." Jake found himself sweating as he saw a shadow embodying his childhood fear of inadequacy. "You will always fail," it growled before vanishing into the depths of the room. With gritted teeth, he shouted back, "No, I can change." In that charged atmosphere, Mia was left to face her own weaknesses as the shadows roared with laughter. In that moment of confrontation, each friend began to realize that confronting their fears was the first step toward reclaiming their strength, even as panic thickened the air around them. As the shadows loomed larger and the friends faced their fears, a realization began to spark in Mia's mind. "We can't fight them alone," she said, stepping forward to confront her own shadow. "We need to support each other." Liam, still trembling, nodded in agreement. "Think about it. Our shadows are just reflections of our fears. Together we can weaken them." He reached for Aisha's hand, pulling her close. "We'll face these before they consume us." With renewed determination, the friends formed a tight circle, their hands clasped together. Aisha looked at the looming figure of her self-doubt and shouted, "You don't define me. I am worth standing up for." Emily followed suit, courage shining in her eyes. "And I'm worthy of friendship. I won't let you win." Each friend began shouting affirmations and truths about themselves as they faced their shadows. Jake stepped up next, speaking directly to his fear. "You may have haunted me, but I am not afraid anymore. I can change." The shadows faltered for a moment, flickering as if confused by their united front. Mia led them all in a chant. "Together, we are strong." As they repeated it, a bright light began to radiate from their hands, pushing back against the darkness threatening to engulf them. With each loving word shouted in unison, the shadows shrank back. The friends realized that the strength of their friendship was powerful enough to overcome even the darkest fears and insecurities. In this moment of unity, they found both courage and light, proving that together they could conquer anything. With their hands still clasped together, the friends felt a surge of warmth and energy flow between them. The shadows seemed to hesitate, flickering as if unsure how to respond to the strength of their connection. Mia took a deep breath and spoke again, her voice steady now. "We all have secrets that make us feel weak or ashamed, but sharing them can make us stronger." Liam nodded, encouraged by her words. "I'll go first," he said, his heart racing. "I've always been afraid of letting people down. I hate feeling like I'm not good enough." As he shared his fear, the shadow representing his insecurities shrank slightly, as though it couldn't withstand the light of his honesty. One by one, each friend opened up about their fears and regrets. Aisha revealed her struggles with self-doubt, while Emily shared her worries about friendship and acceptance. Jake admitted his fear of failure, and Mia spoke about her anxiety to be seen for who she truly was. With every secret shared, the atmosphere shifted. The shadows weakened and began to dissolve into wisps of darkness. The friends cried out words of support for one another, their laughter returning as they found common ground in vulnerability. "Together we shine brighter," shouted Aisha, and they echoed her sentiment, their combined voices resonating like music in the air. As they embraced their truths and supported one another, light emanated from their circle, pushing back the shadows until only glimmers remained. In this moment of trust and connection, they discovered that sharing their burdens was the key to finding strength and courage against the darkness. As dawn broke, the first rays of sunlight streamed through the windows, casting a warm glow over the once darkened room. The friends sat together in a circle, feeling an incredible sense of relief wash over them. They had faced their fears, and now they felt lighter, as if a heavy weight had been lifted from their shoulders. Mia looked around at her friends, each one transformed by the experience. "We did it. We faced those shadows together. she said, her voice filled with gratitude. The others nodded in agreement, smiles breaking across their faces as they reflected on the night's events. Aisha spoke up first. I never thought I could share my fears like that. It feels freeing. Emily chimed in. It's amazing how we can support each other. I feel like I really know you all now. Liam grinned. And we all discovered that our fears don't have to define us. We're stronger together. Jake added, I'm proud of us for not backing down. We really showed those shadows who's boss. As they shared laughter and stories of their personal breakthroughs, the bonds of friendship deepened, woven together by trust and understanding. They exchanged hugs and promises to always support each other, no matter what challenges lay ahead. The shadows that once haunted their game night had been replaced by a bright new beginning, a testament to their resilience and unity. Together, they stepped into the fresh morning light, ready to face whatever adventures awaited them, forever changed by their journey into the darkness.